Every time I confronted that feeling and faced it and went towards it, it progressed my career. So you want to be a professional, full-time musician. You're out touring, you're playing sessions, you're playing huge gigs, the stadiums, you're making all this money. Can you even do that? And what does it take? I'll tell you what, there is one single factor that will be the absolute end all be all, make or break to see if you can make that happen. All right, look, you guys, I'm gonna give a little bit of story time, talk a little bit to the people that are wanting to do this. I like doing that on this channel because music is hard, and this one specific idea is a life idea. It's not just music. But I was having a lesson with a student the other day who had just gone through an audition and was getting ready to go through another audition. And we were talking about nerves and stuff. And it really brought up this idea back to the forefront of my mind that I've been with so much. And it is being comfortable with being uncomfortable and being prepared for failure. So look, this is a life lesson. This doesn't just go into music, but if you want to be a musician, it is so hard, and a lot of the people that do make it have failed. Let me rephrase that. Everyone that has made it has failed time and time again and has somehow gotten as comfortable as they can with being uncomfortable. So with that idea in mind, I want to talk a little bit about my situation and just ways that I've tried to confront that and overcome it, because it's such a big part of life. But we're gonna boil it down to music. It's such a big part of keeping it going. And here's the thing, and I'll give you the real advice right off the bat. The sad part is you might accept failure again and again and again and feel as comfortable as you can being uncomfortable, and you still never actually get that gig, or you still never are playing on big sessions. You still can't really pay your rent. There's some people that have tried that for decades and are still kind of at the same place. There's more to it involved in that, but if you're going to climb the ranks and the ladders, this is part of it. So when I moved to Nashville, man, I thought I could kind of play, and I've talked about this in so many videos, and I was very quickly met with dude, I'm not as good as I think. Everybody is way better, and it was intensely intimidating, let me tell you. And I've said this so much, but right there off the bat, okay, you're met with your first feeling of being uncomfortable, right? You get down here, everybody's so good. You can either try and ego your way through it, which is never good. No, I am that good, or take a real look at it and say, man, everybody's a lot better than I am. And then, as I've said so many times before, man, you could go home and practice, or you could go home. It's about one of my favorite phrases, because most of the time when people come to Nashville, that's what it takes. I had to go home. I practiced for years and years and slowly getting small gigs after small gigs. But right off the bat, I was met with a pretty hard-hitting, I am not as good at guitar as I think I am. And I still live with that every single day. I'm around people that are so good. But I went home, I kept practicing. Right off the bat, I decided I'm going to try and persevere through this and get better, as opposed to just saying, well, I'm never going to be that good. So if you don't know off the bat, you're new to the channel, my name's Timaven. I'm a musician, guitar player here in Nashville. I've played for a bunch of people, most of the names you wouldn't know. My current job, full-time job, is I'm in a band called Lanco. Now, it's a full-time job, but I also do YouTube, I do lessons, I do other stuff. So music is my full-time job, but my main focus is band Lanco. Okay, so Lanco is a, I don't know, 5, 6 times, whatever, platinum selling country band. Successful, we'd call it maybe B tier, if there was B tier, A tier, and then triple A tier, maybe somewhere around there. So look, I have a good gig. I'm not playing in stadiums, but I make a good living. I get to travel nice. I get to play some great gigs. I get to make music with the band. I wanted to kind of state that, and let's work backwards from a little bit, because I think hard auditions I've done throughout my time in Nashville, I think the only real one I got was Lanco. It's the only one. I've done so many auditions, and you do the audition, you try and prep, and you're told no. That's where this comes in. This is where you are going to hear some version of that. You're going to get a gig, You're going to play it. You're not going to do great. They're not going to call you back. You're going to get a gig. You're going to feel like you're doing great. They're going to call you, say we're going a different direction. You're going to start trying to hang out with people that want to write. Yeah, man, I really want to write with this guy. Can't get a hold of him. Won't call you back. Someone's not going to come out and meet you for coffee. Someone's not going to want to talk to you. I mean, it's just endless. It's endless, right? And all of those feelings are hard to confront. And look, if I had a secret sauce for that, I'd be sitting with a lot of money, I guess, if you could sell that to people, because nobody has the pure secret sauce for it. But here's a couple tips like I have used and tried to get used to the idea of to make it through those feelings. First off, let's start with like anxiety. If you're here and you're any type of professional musician, I would argue that if you're not, at least a couple times a year getting put in positions where you feel real anxious about doing it, then you're probably not progressing. Throughout my time here, I have realized so much that when I feel intense, crushing anxiety, I want to explode. I hate everything about this. I don't want to do it. I'm not prepared for this gig. I've got to leave tonight. I don't know the songs. I'm going to die. It feels terrible. It's the worst thing ever. Every time I have had that feeling, overwhelming, it's the worst thing in the world, it has led to growing my career. Every time, without fail. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes you have that feeling the night before an audition. You feel terrible. You go into the audition. You don't play great. It sucks. You don't get the audition. It doesn't just mean that still furthers your career so much if you can take what you've learned from that. Say, okay, what are some things I did great? What are some things I know I could work on? How can I better approach this next time? So they're all wins. And that's the getting used to the failure idea and learning from the failure. Now, we hear this all the time, right? Like, this is used for all life and anything. Business people talk about this a lot, entrepreneurs, right? But everything does come down to this, you know? Can you fail and decide to keep going and try and learn from that? And can you deal with being incredibly uncomfortable? We're going to take a quick second to do the YouTube thing and say this video is sponsored by me. If you're interested in guitar lessons, I teach online guitar lessons. I've got a link in my bio that takes you straight to a form to sign up. I do online lessons through Zoom. You don't have to be in Nashville. I'm happy to talk about anything you want. So you can either hit the link in my bio, which would take you straight to the link tree that has that form, or you can email timavenmusic@gmail.com. Second half is posted under this video. I've got a Sweetwater affiliate link that is posted to my landing page. If you're interested in any of the gear I have, I've put everything I've got, from my picks to my strings, my slides, my guitars, my amps, my pedals, the board I use for the pedals, the guitar stands, everything's on there. So even if you're just curious about what Tim kind of has in his arsenal, you can click that link and just check it out. Obviously, if you purchase anything through there, I get a little bit of a kickback. It's an affiliate link. If you're on YouTube, you've heard it a million times before. It supports the channel, right? That means it pays me money. I appreciate it. So, all right, let's get back into it. Before I got the Lanco gig, I'd played on lots of cover gigs and stuff. And the first gig I ever got called for to go and do a cover set 2 nights out of town, I was so anxious. I didn't know the songs. I had 50-something songs to learn in like 2-3 days. And I locked myself in my room and I hated it. I can think back so vividly to that time of being like a wreck at my place. Just so scared. I didn't know the people I was going out with. I said yes to this gig. I've got to travel with them. It's got to be 2 nights. Like, in my mind, almost for sure the world was going to end. But I did the best I could with the time I had. I showed up. I tried to be nice to everybody. Good hang. That's one thing you can control. Being yourself. Being relaxed, you're traveling with people, being a good travel companion, right? And, you know, did I crush that gig? I didn't crush it, but I didn't completely bomb. I did the best I could. In that gig, right off the bat, that led to 4 years then of me starting to make a little more money on music, you know? I'm only making at that point, I think maybe $150 a gig, but I had very low overhead. I'm brand new to town. I'm getting paid at all. We're a win. And I'm traveling all over the place. I'm 23-year-old Tim. I'm out playing guitar solos, having fun, you know. But that initially came from being scared out of my mind, not wanting to do it, wanting so bad to be like, you know what, I'll call and tell him, like, 2 days isn't enough time to learn this material, you know. And if I would have done that, it wouldn't have pushed me past my boundary, getting uncomfortable and saying, you know what, I'm going to send it. I'm going to do the best I can. and just go for it. And if I hadn't done that, that wouldn't have led to all the rest of this career. It's all stepping stones, right? So slowly, as time went on, I started recognizing that when I felt like that, and now granted off the bat in the beginning, I'd get more anxious like that. You're just a little less confident. You don't have, you're green, right? You're not used to, hey, I've got to prep a lot of music. Once you're at the point where you're like, okay, I've done this 100 times before, it's going to be okay. It's easier to approach that. But I've realized that I still will find myself in positions like that where you feel very anxious and very nervous, and every single time it forwards the career somehow. Now, sometimes it's through going and facing that fear and failing. But then next time you might not be quite as anxious. So through doing that gig, this is kind of how the story goes, right? I'd start doing that gig. I got good at that gig. I learned those songs really well because I was playing them multiple times a week, right? Multiple nights a week. Slowly over time, I did that for 4 years. Now COVID was mixed in there with that, so there was some time off and you couldn't really get new gigs. I was doing other little stuff in town, right? But I found that I kept doing that gig and I was starting to get real comfortable. So at some point, about 4 years later, I decided to leave that gig with no other gig planned. I just knew, I was thinking, man, I'm really comfortable in this, and I think if I don't decide to leave now, I'll wake up in another 4 years and be playing this same bar for maybe $20 more, who knows, right? Doing the same thing. And I knew I wanted to do something more than that. So there it is again, right? Uncomfortable decision to say, I'm going to step away from this and I don't have anything else and I don't have a consistent income right this second, but I'm going to trust that I'll find something. That led into me starting to play more on Broadway. I did like full-time Broadway downtown for like 9 months. I had a set band I was working with. I wasn't just doing like a bunch of random calls. But then again, uncomfortable, right? Having to learn a bunch of more new songs, then start doing requests for tips, right? That's a whole bag on its own. Now, while I was doing that, I'd played on a couple artist gigs before, some small stuff, and most of it was like, hey, someone said you might be free for this, would you want to do it? And there wasn't like the hardcore audition, and then it went well and I kept playing for the artist, real small time. Okay, so the meat of the story here, and this is where I want to talk about some of my tips on how to face this, overcome it, and then my general just encouragement of, look, you can do this, but it's going to take doing a lot of this and keep persevering and facing these kind of feelings, fears, whatnot. So Lanco was and continues to be a series of these feelings. This is a story. I'm getting out of the shower to go to a rehearsal for a very small gig, a friend. I check my phone and I have an Instagram DM from the band Lanco. It's got the check mark. I was like, wow, that's cool. The DM reads something like this. Hey Tim, my name's Brandon. I sing in Lanco. Our current guitar player is leaving. We potentially have an open spot. Is this something you'd be interested in pursuing? So off the bat, I had heard Greatest Love Story, right? That's Lanco's like #1 record. I also heard Born to Love You a lot. Didn't go #1. It's also a platinum record though. I was like, whoa, this is the band. I've heard these songs before. And in my mind, you've got no idea where that's at. So at that point, you just know you've heard that on the radio and that was a really big song. So as far as you know at that point, these people are millionaires and they're, that's all you know at that point. Even at the levels I'd been at, it's like, wow, it's a huge step up. Still playing with Hayden. But then I'm launched into this series of intensely, agonizingly anxious feelings. So check this out. My point here is, at this point, I've been in town like 7 years, right? I've played a lot. I've been in this situation a lot. I feel like I'm prepared for it. I feel like it's like, okay, you can do this stuff. You've been here before. You just keep going. And I had gained a lot of those skills. I had recognized that every time I feel that feeling, something good's going to come. Now, look, that's easier said than done. I can say it to myself a million times, and still when I feel it, it is scary. It just doesn't go away. It's now just saying, all right, I feel it, and I'm just going to send it and keep sending it because that's what I have to do, right? That's what you got to do. But even so, I get hit up, and then initially, after that text message, it's a phone call. Brandon wants to call, just talk, meet each other over the phone. I am so nervous just for the phone call. First off, the way auditions and stuff work in Nashville or anywhere else, the lead singer of a band is almost never sending you a DM saying, hey man, you interested in doing this? Now, when you're small time, you're right, but a multi-platinum band that, as far as I know, is like on top of the world, right? That it doesn't happen. So already I'm thinking, the singer wants to call me and talk to me. Are they scamming me or something? What is this, right? Like, that's not how it works, right? That's not how it works. They saw some of my TikTok videos and liked my playing and my vibe and the way I talk, present myself. So just the phone call, I am so nervous for. I'm so nervous. I get the phone call. We end up talking for more than an hour. Brandon likes to talk. Now, at the time, I don't know Brandon, so I didn't know it was going to be an hour long. It's very friendly, tells me what they're looking for. Here's the base idea off the bat. Okay, we're looking for someone to fill in. We've got a show coming up. But we're looking for a full-time, we want a member of the band. We're not looking for a side player. We're looking for a member of the band. So what we potentially want to do is have you come out and audition. And if it goes well, you can play on this gig, and then we'll kind of go from there and see. So they laid out like what they'd long-term ideally like to have, and then these initial steps. So, same thing. This audition's coming up. Audition, I didn't know what it was going to be like. Normally you show up to an audition, it's from 2 to 2:30. You've got your 3 songs to play. The artist probably isn't even there, or they're sitting on a couch watching you. It's a bunch of management. Maybe you're on film. You play your stuff. They say, thanks, we'll be in touch in a week. And then there's 10 more guys behind you that are going that day. That's a normal audition. Here, they didn't even tell me what songs to learn. So I just went on Spotify and learned the top 3. So then we fast forward. I'm showing up at 7 p.m. to their studio, our studio now, to do this audition. And how do I feel? Like a wreck, man. Like a wreck. I'm so nervous. I am like, this is excited. I'm really excited about this opportunity. This is crazy, man. These people called me out of nowhere, out of the blue, and they want to double my career from where I was at right there. Like, this is crazy. I'm so nervous. I'm like a wreck. I'm worrying about what I wear, what I think I'm going to say, playing. I am just like, what do I bring? I wasn't given any info. Well, I show up, and it's at nighttime. It's just the studio. It's just the guys. And right off the bat, they're like, all right, let's play some music. Now, this is where there's times where once you put that nervous feeling with the playing, you're going to fail. And I've been in that position a bunch. But I'd been in that position so much that I had gotten used to, I played a lot of shows, that it did prep me for saying, okay, I can still send it in this position. I can do the best I can, and my hand's not going to be so shaky like I can't do it, right? Now, that is a benefit of confronting this time and time again. And I'll do a quick side note. I've noticed that I feel this feeling intensely until I get the guitar in my hands and I just have to send it. Sometimes you still feel it some, but that feeling always goes down. If I've practiced, it's like, okay, here I go. Now, if I show up and didn't know the songs at all, I wouldn't have a job now. Show up, super nervous, play through the songs. It actually goes pretty good. They booked me for the first gig. Okay, great. First gig. I am so nervous. I am doing nothing but practicing this set. I've rehearsed it with the band. I am telling my girlfriend, I hate this. Don't take me to the airport. I don't want to go. I just call him, tell him I'm not cut out for this. I don't want it. That was literally my conversation driving to the airport. I knew I was going to go, but man, I felt that so strong. That's purely how I felt all the way. That is just, didn't want to do it. And once again, confronted that feeling, played the first gig, crushed the first gig. I crushed. I practiced so much for that, and honestly, I crushed. It was great. The band was good. I was excited. And right off the bat, Brandon, that night we hung out, and he didn't ask me to join the band then, but he's like, let's keep doing this. I think you could be the guy, man. I think you're the guy. Then fast forward, and slowly, after about a year, I'm fully in the band, and I just, throughout Lanco, you keep confronting that feeling. The first time I'm going into the studio. The first time I went into the studio with Lanco, I went into the studio to work with Jay Joyce. And that is a terrifying feeling in general, if you've heard any stories about Jay. Now, Jay's nice. And I got to talk a lot with Jay, not just on the floor. And I'm no studio musician, let me tell you. And I failed a bunch that day. We didn't get about any of my takes or parts and stuff, but great experience, So I kept getting confronted, and I continue to get confronted with these experiences that feel like terrifying. First time, okay, we're playing the Grand Ole Opry. I've never played the Opry. All the guys have played the Opry. I've never played the Opry. I gotta show up and, what? This is crazy. I'm nervous. You walk out there, it's like, wow, I'm here. I'm at it. I'm doing it, right? Here's another great one. They asked me to join the band when they officially asked me to join the band the very next week. The very next week, I'm going to the ACM Awards. Now, we're playing the after party of the ACM Awards, but I'm also going to the ACM Awards. In my mind, you're going and you can buy tickets to that. You're going and sitting up in the bleachers or something. I don't know, right? No, 2 days later after that, I'm meeting with the stylist. I'm getting to pick out a bunch of clothes. I'm getting to pick out my outfit for that that's getting tailored for that. And then all of a sudden, I find myself in Texas. I've got hair and makeup getting done. It was pretty light makeup-wise, but fixing my hair. All through that process, I wasn't about to play right then, but dude, I was nervous. I was super nervous. I had done I had had like a really slight bit of media training just through my dad. My dad's in a position where he just retired. He talked a lot with the media through the company he worked with. He had just a friend that he hooked me up with that I did a 30-minute phone call to just give me some tips and stuff, because the guys were like, well, there'll be interviews and stuff. Within a week from joining the band, I am my feet on the red carpet, which is ironic, is a white carpet for this, but the red carpet. This is how it goes. Same thing. So nervous. And here I'm not playing guitar. Here I am. I just have to stand and smile. And there's 5 people in the band. I don't even have to talk if I really don't want to. And as soon as you walk into that press room for the red carpet, the first thing you're greeted with, you wait in line for a second, the first thing you're greeted with is then that classic row of I don't know, it's like 40 photographers, all people saying, over here, hey, look over here, guys, one over this way, right? And you're just standing. That's the first thing you walk into. So I'm dressed up at this point. I'm very nervous. I walk in there, I'm standing, and all these flashes are going off, and I'm looking at it like, oh my God, how have I ended up here? How have I ended up here? Okay, now you start going down the line. People Magazine, we got CMT, we got ABC, here's Fox and Friends. There's all types of random, you do like 40 interviews going through that carpet. And I was so nervous, I wasn't talking very much. But here's my point. I know this is a lot of story time, but every time I confronted that feeling and faced it and went towards it, it progressed my career. And when I'm standing there on a red carpet that I feel like I have no business being on, why am I at the ACM Awards? Literally on the red carpet. I'm not just there as a friend, and sitting in the bleachers. I'm like being interviewed by people and pictures being taken, and there's literally only celebrities around me on the red carpet. It's how did I get there? And looking back on it, it's an amalgamation of consistently confronting that feeling, being okay with failure as much as it sucks. God, I know it sucks as much as everybody else. But then trying to learn from it and keep saying yes and keep doing it and keep being like, dude, I'm an anxious wreck, but I'm gonna send it. So I know there's a lot of story time and it's just me kind of blurting off, but I really wanted to hammer in this idea to anybody that's thinking about doing this, that you're gonna confront these feelings so much and you have to get used to it. And I promise this is the number one thing that will determine whether you reach those goals or not. Now, here's the thing. If you reach those goals, you can't do it without this. But you cannot reach those goals while still doing this, right? So making it there requires this. No doubt about it. No successful person in the world will tell you any different. No successful musician, I don't care who it is. But you could still do this and not get your shot. And music is hard, man. It's not because I'm the best player. It's not. I had an amalgamation of things I'd worked really hard on, and then it got put into the right hands, and someone saw it, and now I've got a really solid career right now, and I'm really happy with it. I get to make content for you guys. I get to travel. I can pay more than pay my rent now. I can actually save and have money. Doesn't mean I'm a millionaire. Don't worry. I ain't making millions yet. But it also is a lot of factors of all that hard work, confronting the uncomfortable, getting used to failure, and then knowing that at a certain point, it might not just be for you. You might do all the right things and you still don't get it. You still don't get that big opportunity. So I just wanted to come on here and share a little bit of that story and give some words of encouragement to people. I know I talk a lot about this stuff on the channel and it's similar kind of stuff, but these things are important to me, man. This is me giving a diary of my life and how did I end up here. And if it helps just one of you out there of just even knowing this is a thing, and maybe you're confronted with the uncomfortable situation of, I've got a new gig and I got to learn these songs and it's new people I don't know. And you're like, I remember that video from that one guy and he said, when you feel this way, lean into it. Then that's a win for me, right? So look, I'm going to wrap it up there. A bunch of rambling, a little bit of story time from Tim. I hope you guys are doing well. I got a lot of new content coming. We're hitting the road. I've got all kinds of gig vlogs, rehearsal vlogs. Look, I got a bunch of stuff. It's going to be great. We've got a ton of stuff coming. I'm excited to take you guys along. And look, if you made it this far, hit the like button for me. Hit the subscribe button. And until next time, peace.